It's officially been 1 year since I've self-published my book on Amazon, and let's talk about it. Self-publishing your own books on Amazon's platform KDP is one of the most recommended side hustles, so I'm going to tell you what I think about it, if it's worth it, and how much money I made in 1 year. So as you can see here, the publication date of my first book was January 16th of 2023, so it's officially been a year. And when I'm talking about my book, I'm talking about my most successful book and the book that has the most content in it. So with KDP, there's generally 3 different content books. There's low content books, which would be like a blank page book, such as a journal, medium content, and then high content books, which would be something more like a novel. So as you can see here, after 1 year, I've sold 214 units of books, the majority of that being my first book, which is my most successful and the one that I put the most work into. So those are all the blue lines, and the yellow one is a book that I made that's also medium-ish content and sells sometimes, but not as often as my original. So you can see right after I released the book last January, it was pretty slow. And then it kind of popped off in February and has stayed rather consistent since then. I thought Q4 would do better, but actually October was my best month for whatever reason. So how much money have I made? In 1 year, I've made $639.57 in royalties. So for example, the majority of this time, my book was going for $9.99, and I only get to keep about $3.11 of that. So it's kind of a balancing game between how much you want to pocket and how much you want to list your book for. Obviously, the higher the price of your book, the more royalties you're going to get. The lower the cost of your book, the lower the royalties you're going to get. So I think it was back in the fall where KDP had a price increase, which meant that I also had to increase the price of my book to balance my royalties. I didn't want to take such a huge L, so I did end up increasing the cost of my book from $9.99 to $11 and some change. So is it worth it? I would say yes, if you make a book that is worth it. In my experience, low content books don't sell well. It's a very competitive market, and adding some content and something unique about your book makes it sell so much more. Obviously, if I was able to pocket all of the sales of my book, I would have made a lot more money this year. So let's say for $9.99 per book, and I was able to keep all of that, I would have made over $2,100. I will say the research that I put into this was worth it. I was able to find an area of Amazon where there wasn't already a lot of content like the content I was creating. Anyways, I'm gonna stop there because I'm rambling, but if you guys have any questions, just let me know and I'd love to answer them.